And Dr. Rapp-Hooper, the floor is yours.
Chairman Molinar, Ranking Member Khanna, distinguished members of the House Select Committee on China, thank you for including me in this important hearing today. Since its inception, this committee has played a critical role in providing bipartisan oversight and making recommendations that have strengthened U.S. policy towards China and in support of Taiwan. We are at the beginning of what could be the most consequential year in U.S.-China relations in recent history. The world is looking to the leadership of Congress and this committee to signal with resolve and clarity the bipartisan U.S. support for Taiwan that is necessary to maintain its status and its security. As I outline in my written testimony, the PRC's use of peacetime coercion against Taiwan is vastly increasing in scope and scale in the military, information, economic, and cyber domains. The PRC's purpose is clear: to demoralize the people on Taiwan so that they conclude that their status quo is untenable and they must submit to the PRC. But despite this unrelenting and accelerating pressure, the Taiwan people are resolved. They increasingly see themselves as Taiwanese, hold unfavorable views of the PRC, oppose unification with China, and strongly support the status quo. Efforts by the United States to rally like-minded partners to Taiwan's support have also paid off. Over the course of the Biden administration, my colleagues and I worked energetically to ensure that American allies from the Indo-Pacific to Europe understood the stakes of a potential Taiwan contingency and were increasingly willing to assume risk to support Taiwan and the status quo. These were not diplomatic niceties. This was a deliberate effort to ensure that Beijing would have to look beyond Taipei and Washington to make its calculations about potential economic, political, and military responses to a Chinese attack on Taiwan. And these efforts were largely successful. Nowhere is this clearer than in Prime Minister Takaichi Sanai's comments before the Japanese Diet that a Chinese attack on Taiwan could constitute a survival-threatening situation to Japan. But Taiwan and our allies' resolve cannot be taken for granted. Both are predicated on a status quo that must be backstopped by a clear and consistent United States. This makes the PRC's latest Taiwan tactics noteworthy. Over the course of the last several months, it has become evident that the PRC is attempting to shape U.S. policy towards Taiwan through ongoing trade negotiations. The PRC's approach appears to be at least twofold. First, to degrade or delay American security assistance to Taiwan by objecting to arms sales and defense dialogues. And second, to push for changes to U.S. declaratory policy on Taiwan, advocating for language that the United States, quote, opposes Taiwan independence or, quote, supports peaceful reunification. The intent may be to ask for policy changes so specific that they do not trip a strong reaction from Congress or from the American public. But at a time when Taiwan is demonstrating a renewed commitment to its own defense and resilience, such a setback could not only demoralize the people on Taiwan, but drain political support from these vital efforts when there is absolutely no time to waste. In the coming weeks, the Congress, with the leadership of this committee, can take decisive action to demonstrate that American policy towards Taiwan remains strong, bipartisan, and consistent. In my written testimony, I share 8 policy recommendations, and will summarize just a few of them here. First, Congress can reaffirm the Taiwan Relations Act and codify the 6 assurances as law. Congress should disabuse the PRC's attempt to connect Taiwan to trade talks on a bipartisan and bicameral basis and should pass a resolution reaffirming overwhelming support for the TRA and passing the 6 Assurances Act into law. Second, and relatedly, Congress should also codify the other essential elements of our Taiwan policy to limit the PRC's ability to reinterpret or relitigate these aspects of our policy. A single resolution, for example, could list out all of the essential elements, including our One China policy, the TRA, 6 Assurances, Taiwan Travel Act, support for peace and stability in the Strait, opposition to unilateral changes to the status quo, and belief that Taiwan's future should be determined peacefully and consistent with the wishes of the Taiwan people. This could serve as a basis for combating PRC disinformation and would reduce doubt in Taipei and other capitals that the PRC may be able to shape U.S. policy. Third, Congress must strengthen Taiwan's ability to resist gray zone coercion given the onslaught of diversifying PRC tactics. This committee can work with the administration to prioritize area for gray zone support and insert a provision into the next NDAA that mandates a strategy for immediate execution. Fourth, Congress should relatedly advance strategic support to Taiwan's presidential election in 2028 and press the administration to support local elections in 2026. Fifth, Congress can ensure that extreme PRC behavior does not become the routine by working with the executive to release statements and hold hearings every time the PRC undertakes a large-scale military exercise that surrounds Taiwan or begins an economic pressure campaign against an ally like Japan using Taiwan as pretext. Sixth and finally, Congress should keep Taiwan's most powerful partners mobilized by asking the administration to report on a classified basis its efforts with all Indo-Pacific and European allies on all issues related to Taiwan. A stronger and more resilient Taiwan requires accelerated efforts to strengthen conventional deterrence as well as to respond to the PRC's daily accelerating use of peacetime coercion. But in this moment, Taiwan's security also requires a unified and unmistakable message from the U.S. Congress. The long-standing bipartisan U.S. support for Taiwan endures. I look forward to answering your questions.